I don't know if you can hear the geese. You definitely hear the bugs. Oh my goodness, the bugs are so loud back in the woods behind me. And of course the rocks under my feet. You know, there's some geese over the water right now, but you probably can't see them very well. But it's a beautiful day. It's one of those days where the water is actually super calm and still and almost looks like a lake. But there are tides. Right now it's low tide, so I'm actually able to sit back on the beach and get in pretty close to the water. So the sun actually has risen. It's 6:28, and that's what time sunrise is. You just can't see it because it's behind those trees, but you can see it hitting up on those clouds and then reflecting back down to the water. So in a little while, we'll see that sunrise over top of those trees. So this morning, I have a story about bubble wrap, which is one of my favorite things. I can't help it. I love to pop bubble wrap. I can't help it. I see a bit of it, I gotta pop them. It's fun, right? But I don't know if you know that the original use for bubble wrap was actually as textured wallpaper, which is crazy. It obviously failed. It didn't do a good job. And it was really these two engineers who thought, man, we really need some different types of wallpaper. So they took two shower curtains and they sealed them together where it got all these cool air bubbles between them. And they thought this is what they will paste on the wall to be this cool new wallpaper. So it didn't sell very well, despite lots of efforts on their part to try to sell it. So they didn't stop there, though. They said, all right, you know what, this probably can be used in other ways. What about as greenhouse insulation? And so they figured it would basically, insulate those greenhouses. And it did have some insulating properties, but it really wasn't good enough. It wasn't enough air between it to actually insulate the greenhouse the way it should be. And like most people, they failed once, they failed a second time, and they went, dud of a product. We'll just shelve this. This isn't any good. We'll try to create something new. And they went on with their lives, and they tried to create other things, and didn't really think about it much more. But 3 years after it was invented, this other company, Sealed Air, who was the one they had hired to actually manufacture it, they started thinking about it, and they're like, you know what? This might be able to be used as a packaging material. And coincidentally, right around that same time, it was 1959, IBM was coming out with the very first computers. And so they approached IBM and they said, hey, what about this bubble wrap stuff I have? Maybe, the herons flying right over the water, they're so beautiful. But what if we use this bubble wrap to use it to package and ship these computers? And that's how bubble wrap came to be a really, really very effective shipping material. And so there's a lot of stories in this, and I use this story in my class that I teach about innovation and brainstorming and collaboration within teams. And of course there's the story of don't give up, right? The perseverance, that just because something doesn't work the first time doesn't mean that it's a failure. You can keep trying and try different ways and look at it from different perspectives. But I think the biggest story in this is actually that when you have a failure or what appears to be a failure, it's really important to take it to your team and other people and say, hey, look, I created this, I made this, I wrote this, whatever it happens to be, and it doesn't seem to be a success. Can you take a look at it with fresh eyes and fresh perspective? And with that, you might get a whole new use and a whole new way of looking at something. But that takes courage. It takes courage to lay our mistakes and our what appear to be failures on the table for others to see. And it's scary. So I think that is the biggest lesson to me. And it's something that if you are leading a team, whether it's volunteers or whether it's your children, whether it's your grandchildren, or whether it's, a major corporation, is making sure that your team understands that these aren't failures. They really are first attempts in learning, the first attempt at something. And that from what appear to be mistakes, real, true innovation can happen. That's my story for today. And here comes the sun. You can kind of see a little bit more up on that cloud way over to the right. I don't know if we're actually going to get a sunrise because where it's rising today, there's a big, thick bank of clouds. But we might get it over top of that bank. Either way, it's beautiful. And I really appreciate all of my regulars being here this morning. You guys are the most loyal crowd. I mean, this is early in the morning, you know, to think about it on Tuesday mornings, to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna turn on Facebook so I can watch the sunrise and join Brianna down at the shoreline. It's appreciated, and I like you guys here. Hope you guys have a great week. And like my high school principal used to say, make it a good day. It's up to you. This is a great start. So thanks everybody. I'll let the sun rise for a little bit and then we'll sign off. Until next Tuesday. See you then. Well, it's a beautiful morning, guys. If you missed my chat, it was a pretty cool, fun story about bubble wrap. So rewind and take a look at that, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thanks for joining me. See you later.